Hey guys, welcome to our review of Andor episode 9. Nobody's listening. And as you can see, Alex is on vacation, went to Japan. So we've got Grogu filling in for him, who's asleep. Grogu, if he even comes through on the green screen. And yeah, so we have another really solid episode of Andor. Super fascinating, good performances. You've heard this from us the whole way through, and this episode just continues it. So as we've been saying before, these are 3 episode arcs. This is the second episode within this sort of prison break arc, and it's separated into, I think, about 4 main subplots. One having to do with Andor in the prison. Another having to do with the ISB closing the net in on the rebellion and trying to figure out where Andor is and more information. And another one with Mon Mothma. And finally, the 4th one with the guy and his mom. I forget this guy's name. Anyway, the dude and his mom. So Serial, I think so. You're starting to learn the Star Wars names. Star Wars names in the universe have always been kind of funky. But what do you think of this episode, Joe?
Another good episode. I love the acting. I love the acting between the chemistry between Cyril and Miro. Them two.
Yeah.
So
the ISB agent and the mama's boy.
Yeah, because he's really like hungry, ambitious to get this stuff done. He's like wants to take down Andor big time now, so he wants some help and. Like,
and he
keeps
approaching
I don't know what
her.
Kind of relationship is going on there.
Yeah, he's like stalking her, and she's like, "Stop contact." I don't understand her resistance to him, though. Does she think he's coming on to her or something? Because clearly, this is an ambitious guy who will do anything to help, and it seems like she would want all those people on her team, especially when her own assistant is kind of helping her in meetings and doing a good job himself. She needs people like that around her. But in this episode, she finally sort of crosses the line. And I hear people are like really liking her character, thinking, I don't know, maybe she's gonna go. It's like, no, she's full on evil, and it shows you that power can corrupt. It doesn't matter if you're man or woman. She is just going crazy because she is using some horrendous torture tactics. So the last episode we left off where Bix is going to be interrogated, and they interrogate her with some new method. What method are they using here, Joe?
They use some helmet, mess up your brain. I don't know.
Yeah, and it was like the screams of an alien race that they had slaughtered and murdered that kind of makes you go crazy because they found like previous crewmen hiding under some consoles on a bridge when they made all these sounds. And so the Empire has just added layers upon layers on this sound and then just fucking scrambling your brain, and it can cause permanent damage. So yeah, Bix takes one for the team big time, and she learns some information from that and kind of crosses the line. So she is clearly a bad guy, and she's like, if I told you, you wouldn't even believe me anyway. And she's like, yeah, you're right. Just her acting is really good, very sinister, and just great performances here. Back in the prison, it was this time the prison is it was a little confusing to understand. People are mumbling, and Andor's thick accent is kind of difficult, but I think that's kind of what part of it. You're not really sure what the hell is happening, and it's only until later in the episode is it revealed that what is actually happening. So they're going about their business. Andor has found a few allies in trying to escape. They're doing several things here and there that don't really seem to be helping. In the bathroom, there's something.
Yeah,
he's
it's like
cutting.
I was wondering what he's trying to do.
I'm not sure, and then they also have a communication system within the prison to let the people know what's happening on other levels. And Andor kind of makes an appeal to his work manager named Kino. Andy Serkis, who to it's like how many guards are on the floor, and have you never thought about escaping? He's like, shut up, keep in line, that kind of
Like I
stuff. It's
only
like,
have 217 more days.
yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
done.
He wants to just finish. But unfortunately, Olaf, the older member of this prison work crew, who we've seen kind of slowing down, is really losing it. And
He's like,
he's
oh, we know he's not gonna make it.
not gonna make it. He's basically, slowing his work and then almost going senile. So he eventually collapses, and they try to hide this fact because if you don't win in the little work table, I think your team gets shocked. The last place team gets shocked because we saw Team Two get shocked once while this guy was collapsing, and so they just want to keep a low profile. So, but unfortunately, he completely collapses, and it turns out he has had a stroke. So but before this moment, there's a moment where they're, out on the platform, the bridges, and the power kind of fluctuates, and there's confusion, and people are trying to figure out what's happening. And it turns out that an entire level of people have been fried and killed, and they're like, "Oh, what? That's crazy. Why is this? Oh, we got to keep in line, because if we don't behave ourselves, then people are going to die, right?" But through this doctor who comes in to help out with Olaf, who really end up euthanizing him, not really helping him. He's too far gone,
Yes.
as he's had a stroke, and they ain't gonna fucking help here. This is about as best as I can do for this guy, which really affects Kino, who is like, he only has a few shifts left. He's old to help him. And the medic security at that time confirms to Cassian that, what had happened, which was somebody was released, right? You finished all your shifts, you're supposed to be let go. You're like, oh, thank God. And that's why Kino has been so militant in let's get this done and let's get out of here. It's the way to survive. Well, it turns out the Empire made a fuck up. They screwed up. Somebody was released from level 4, but they put him back into level 2. And so obviously this person was like, "What the fuck? No, I'm not, I don't want to be back. I was supposed to get out of here." And then level 2 went crazy when they realized, "Wait a minute.
None
So
of us
this
are getting
guy,
out.
none of us are getting out." And so it was chaos on level 2 when this guy was put right back into the prison population, because that's what happens. Nobody's ever getting out of here. You
No
guys are
one's
just
listening to you.
nobody's listening. You're just gonna keep walking. You're just gonna keep working and working until you die. Once you get into this work camp, which is crazy. It goes from what, a 6-month sentence or to a 6-year sentence to an infinite sentence working for the Empire because they lost your papers or whatever. So this and Andor has asked him. Asks him again at this point, how many guards are on these levels. He's like, no more than 12. And you can tell in that moment, boom,
It's about to go down.
it's about to go down. Even Kino, their work manager now, is receptive and on board to escaping, because there is no path to survival. He's not the path to survival would be to just keep his head down, work, and be released.
Not
You're
gonna
not
happen.
gonna- So that really culminated in a really good subplot. Just fucking love that subplot. Even though me and Joe kept rewinding because we couldn't hear what people were saying, and we're like, "What's going on?" But it's supposed to be a part of this confusion, and so I liked it. Um, Meanwhile, so you have Miro, who is the ISB agent, is just torturing Bix for the information. And then through that, she learns that Cassian has been maybe involved in the Aldhani attack, which was the bank heist. But unfortunately, she fails to learn anything about Luthen, who she calls, I don't know, they have a code name for Axis or something, I don't know. So they're trying to find this leader, Luthen, but she wasn't able to get that close. But she feels like if I can find Andor, then I can find not only he a key target, but we can get to Luthen. Later on in a meeting, though, the ISB were able to capture a rebel pilot, and this kind of flew over my head. I'm like, what? This rebel pilot was working for Anto Krieger, and we don't really know who Anto
No.
Krieger. He was mentioned once in the last episode. I had to look it up. Basically, one of the separatist groups of the rebellion, because you know how the rebellion's kind of splintered right now. You've got Forrest Whitaker. What's his name?
I forgot what it was on the.
Saul Guerrera. Yeah, so Saul Guerrera, and then another faction is Anto Krieger, who reveals a power station on Spellhaus is set to be raided by Krieger's group. So they have this pilot, they have this information, they can essentially ambush one of the major cells of the rebellion who are about to do this. So that's going to culminate. And how is everything factoring in? How is Andor going to factor into that? And I think this name is related to setting up Rogue One in the future, but we don't know that right now. They're probably going to be in the next. This is probably going to culminate in the next arc. They're just setting up the people. So prison arc really good. Interrogation arc very interesting. It's getting real dark with that interrogation methods and stuff, and the acting is superb. And then we have Mon Mothma. And here we get another reveal. Mon Mothma reunites with Vel, who is that blonde that we've seen, who was one of the heist ladies. And it turns out that her girlfriend kind of, threw that barb at her. It was true. She is a rich girl. It's revealed that she's the cousin of Mon Mothma. So Mon Mothma, not only is Mon Mothma involved, but some of her family is involved more heavily than she is being outward rebels. Right, and she's encouraged, and she kind of trades barbs with her husband. Mon Mothma's husband sucks, man. It's just like a loveless relationship, and she kind of smiles as her cousin is getting the one up on her husband, trading barbs there, and but she encourages her to essentially keep a low profile, keep being the rich girl, because
Don't draw too much attention.
exactly. So and being politically uninvolved, and so she kind of plays along with that. So, but the Mon Mothma basically has to go back to the one rich guy or the one guy that was helping her out, this
banker.
banker dude, the Colma, to continue working to gather their funds for the rebel activities and kind of clean up her past, because he's going through her records. He said there's a big, like 400,000 discrepancy here, and we need to paper that up. And the only way they can do that is by they mentioned Davos. He says, Davos? Davos. Who's Davos? Oh,
we don't want
no.
him.
And we're like, well, who the fuck is Davos? I don't know.
Some thug.
Okay.
A
So
rich
I guess
thug.
they're setting up, so again, some seeds. So now we have Anto Krieger from the rebellion, and now Davos, who doesn't really want to work with him, but now she's going to have to work with him. This was, I guess it was good, but a little less good than some of the other subplots
It
going
was.
on. I'd
I'd
say
say this was a weaker one.
the ISB and the prison stuff were the best, and then Mon Mothma is weaker. It seems like we're kind of repeating ourselves in plot points that we already learned. And then finally, I think the weakest one, poor motherfucking Cyril, again is ridiculed by his mother as he's eating breakfast and slurping on his Captain
milk.
Crunch berries, Star Wars Crunch berries, and I think he basically lies to his mom that he's like, I've been promoted, and she goes from giving him shit to, oh, I knew they see potential in you, and it's because he's betting that he can somehow. No, he actually did get a promotion. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because ultimately, this officer did somewhat reward him and clean his record and things like that. And so he was very appreciative and very turned on almost by this woman. I just
some
needed to be.
creepy vibes.
I know. It's like, I just needed to be in your presence again. It's like, okay, this guy's a weirdo. But this wild card, and it's fascinating to see how this wild card will factor in there. So, anyways, that's basically the episode of Nobody Listening. Another solid one that I thoroughly enjoyed, and is really leading into what I hope is the conclusion of this particular 3-episode arc in episode 10. And then there'll be 2 more episodes and then that's the end of season
That's the
one.
end.
So, but it's good to have something to look forward to every week because I look forward to Andor every week because it's so well done. And we don't have House of the Dragon anymore. We're gonna have to wait 2 years for that. Mercifully, we have to wait 2 years for Rings of
Rings of
Power.
Power.
So there's
I'm
nothing to
not
watch every weekend, but Andor's still
not a big
going.
loss there for me.
Right, I agree. All right, so let's go with final verdicts for Andor, episode 9.
8 for me. I like the acting, great storytelling. It's
Mm-hmm.
still on par with the rest of it. It hasn't declined like I thought it was.
Right.
I'm looking forward to the next episode of it's going to be a prison riot because there's got to be some going on.
It's gonna be hard as fuck to break out of this prison, like, cause
well, they
there's-
fried the whole level up top, and then
Uh-huh.
all the power went out. So some people, it's something's going to happen.
Aha, I think you're right. I think that's a key to it is destroy
It's
the
too
power.
much juice.
Maybe that's what they're cutting in the thing. They're cutting some kind of power cables or something. So because that's the only way. Because there's a lot of juice running and it has a limited juice. So maybe they'll fry some other level instead of their level, and then they can use that opportunity to get out. Or, like I said, cut some of the wires out
I
there.
don't know how they're going to get out though. 'Cause
That's what's fascinating
yeah,
about it.
it's like once they get to the top,
At first, I
Then how
thought,
you
are
gonna
they
get
under
off?
attack from rebels or something? That would have been cool too, because the place is kind of shaking or there's alarms, and powers being lost but no, it was they murdered an entire level because they're trying to keep it on the down low that you're never getting out of here. So,
Yep.
super interesting stuff. I am also going with an 8 out of 10. Each episode is just as strong as the last for different reasons. And remember, by the time an arc completes, like ratings can go up, and down. It's very hard to rate these individual episodes like in the middle of the
Yeah.
story, so you really need to watch each arc. So this arc is just as good as the last arc, and I am wonderfully looking forward to the conclusion, and I hope that Kino joins the team because he's an asshole, he's badass, and he's
he's going to.
efficient.
He's going
He's
to.
got to join the team. He's got to help out. I mean, that's how they ended this episode. That he's willing to give the information because Andor's like, let me know what you know before you leave, and he's like, no. But
oh, he
now
knows he's not leaving, so he's going to try to break out.
I'm
It's going to
looking
be a good team up.
looking forward to it, guys. This is some of my favorite Star Wars ever, dude. I mean, I think it's as good as Mandalorian in a different way. Mandalorian's giving you that action adventure satisfaction. This one's giving you that intrigue and politics and sort of the birth of the rebellion. So really great stuff. Hope you guys are still enjoying Andor with us. Tell us what you
Watch
thought
it.
of this
Tell people to
particular.
watch it.
Tell people to watch it. Yeah, because nobody's listening apparently to the. But and I'm just enjoying because I don't think Disney cares. I think Disney themselves know it's good and they don't give a fuck. And they mass audiences aren't watching it because Andor dies. Nobody cares what happens to a guy that dies in the future. I'm like, well, that's just those are smooth brains because there's some good stuff happening over here. So you're one of the good people that is continuing to watch this and enriching the Star Wars lore in the best way with competent, mature writers that are adults in the room and that know what they're doing when you compare it to some of the other shit we've been watching. So House of the Dragon and Andor has really helped out this year in TV. So anyways, that's going to be it for us. Tell us what you thought and how you think they're going to break out in the next episode. And we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.